Your level of discipline comes from the level of your systems. Most people think that some people just have it by nature, and that's why it seems so easy for them to stay consistent. However, it's wrong. Discipline actually is against how our brain works. And it's a neurological fact. We are not evolved to prioritize long-term goals, but instead for immediate survival, pleasure, and conserve energy. So if discipline doesn't come from force, where does it come from? From structure. In fact, disciplined people are not stronger. They created systems to manipulate their brains to make it seem easier. If you've ever hated yourself for procrastinating and you want to enter in your disciplined teen era, then we'll eliminate what is keeping you stuck and integrate new, smarter, more human ways of operating. First thing you need to remove, tying discipline to identity. Stop thinking that some people just have it. Oh, Susan is disciplined. It's deeply ingrained in her identity is how she is by nature. And I am just lazy. I cannot do it. It's too hard for me. I used to think that way too. Looking at all these videos on TikTok of people who are so productive that I was like, how can you do that? But you have to understand that it's not in our biology as humans to be disciplined. All these people that you look up to, that you think that discipline is just in their nature, they also started where you are at right now. We as species evolved in a way where we prioritize more conserving energy over wasting it. AKA, you would rather stay on the sofa watching Netflix rather than going to the gym. You would rather stay on your comfort zone where it's all familiar rather than trying something new, rather than trying something challenging that is going to make you scared. Your body rather wants to conserve energy and stay comfortable than going out there and get uncomfortable, get tired. It almost associates all these things as threat. So the thing that changed everything, that let me become so disciplined at such a young age, is that I started to cut these 3 things and replace them with hacks in my system that made discipline easier than ever for me. First thing you need to stop doing is setting goals too big. You wanna become a successful content creator. The first month you try at it, but then you find yourself stuck. You are all of a sudden procrastinating because the fear of failure and especially your perfectionism is holding you back. And then you start to think that it's impossible for you, it's too unrealistic for you, you can never achieve that, and then you quit. Here's what most people miss. You don't have to set big goals. It doesn't mean that you don't need to be ambitious. It just means that you need to learn how to break these big goals of yours into smaller ones. And I like to assign every month a small goal. So in the first month of January, I'm going to learn how to create good titles. In the second month, I'm going to learn how to create better thumbnails, learn how to design. The third month is going to be learning how to hook people. That makes it seem way easier. And after 12 months, you have mastered all these small things that compound into each other and that are going to help you achieve that big goal of yours finally. And you're not going to quit. You're not going to let your perfectionism hold you back because you have a whole month dedicated to mastering that little thing. And for your brain, it's going to be like nothing. It's going to be like, oh yeah, it's going to be easy. I have literally 30 days to master that little thing. But one thing I wish I could stop doing sooner is ignoring the power of my environment. Who you surround yourself with, including what you watch on social media, is going to determine your future. If you're constantly surrounded by people who are not really ambitious, which is nothing wrong with that, but if they are not aligned with your personal values, if you value becoming your best self, achieve your dreams at such a young age as a teen, then you cannot be surrounded and make friends with other teens who want to have fun in these years, who don't really prioritize at the moment their goals. If you struggle to do that, then listen. The 5 people who you surround yourself with the most are your future. Like, show me your friends and I'm going to predict your future literally. I'm not even telling about friends. I'm telling also about what type of content, what people you follow on social media. Because these days, we pass so much time, 2 to 3 hours per day scrolling on social media. One hack that I started to implement is that I started to unfollow people, click not interested, also cutting off people who, were not bad, but we're just not aligned with where I want to go in life. After that, oh my god, everything changed for me. I started to become like the span of 1 month, 1 week, I don't know, I started to become so disciplined. Like my For You page was filled with people being productive, tips on how to become more consistent. I was surrounded by friends who shared my same mentality and values. And we were uplifting each other and motivating each other in becoming our best selves, you know. All of a sudden, discipline wasn't that difficult for me. It was the bare minimum. It was the normal for me. Because I was surrounded by all of that all the time. And I'm still am. And I wish I could do that sooner. But sometimes I will notice that I will fall back into procrastinating, into binge watching Netflix, waiting until I was motivated to do things. And I solved that by implementing this, making the bad habits and distractions less accessible than the good ones. You find yourself just opening Netflix and eat all these snacks that is preventing you to go to the gym. This content that you're watching about discipline and being surrounded by friends who are sharing your same mentality is not going to help you. You're still going to fall back to these bad habits. So the hack that I implemented next is get my self-help book ready on the table the night before. So the next morning in my morning routine, I'm going to read it. Since I knew that the next morning I may fall back doing the bad habit of watching Netflix, let's say, and eating all these snacks, I put the snacks in another room instead of my bedroom. I made sure to finish all those movies that I was watching on Netflix and never watching any other new ones again, which took some time, but it was worth it, which actually worked. Now, literally, I'm barely watching Netflix because I'm not even trying to search for movies to watch. Now I'm like, let's read that book because I have nothing to do and it's so boring. Discipline comes not only from will of resisting all these temptations and distractions and snacks, but it comes from removing in your environment all the cues that are going to trigger your bad habit and make visible and easy to start all the good habits, the books, the gym clothes near your environment. So it's easier for you to actually start going to the gym and read that book because other negative cues are out of reach from you. Because now all these negative cues are out of reach from you. That's how you stay disciplined, not from will, but from systems that make discipline easier. Literally, the one thing that is going to make all of this even more automatic is by going ghost. And this video is going to explain it. See you there, Dream Aligner!